It's Jay Anomaly, and today we're going to react to one of my high school basketball mixtapes. Yep, like some of your favorites, I was also myself an athlete, and that same tenacity that I used to try to get myself out there in basketball is the same tenacity I'm using to try to get myself out in music now. I know I mentioned we'll be reacting to one of my high school basketball mixtapes. I actually have two up there on the web. Just YouTube Jacob Spell Basketball Class of 2018 and they both should come up. While my junior year mixtape starts off with a very awesome clip of me dunking, it was actually my sophomore mixtape that got acknowledged in a very serious way by a D1 program in the Ivy League, leading to some very light recruiting action. So that's what I'll be reacting to today. In this video, I'm going to tell you all about my basketball journey, my recruiting interactions with two D1 schools, who were both in the Ivy League, what ended my basketball career, and how all this relates to my upcoming album. And in between, I'll be giving commentary on my sophomore mixtape. Ready to see me hit a lot of three balls? Let's get started. Okay. So this is my height in shoes, because I'm about 5'8", but I put 5'11". Bang! Alright, let's stop right there. So I was a shooter. I played the shooting guard position. So you're going to see me catch and shoot a lot in this video. As you'll see throughout this video, I was wearing the Currys, the purple Curry ones, father to son. I myself was a pretty big LeBron fan, but as far as play style, being a shooter, a long lost splash brother, Curry was a big inspiration for me in high school. Alright, as to why I started making mixtapes in the first place, it all started in 8th grade and wanting to play at that next level, and just wanting footage of myself ready to go to show the coaches. Too bad I don't have my 8th grade school season on tape, because that would have been a sight to see. But from 8th grade AAU and on, I have everything on tape. Shout out to my mother and my younger brother. But my 8th grade school season would have been cool to have on tape, because that would have had buzzer beaters, tip-ins, post moves. But hey. Okay, let's stop right here. This one's very important. This was kind of long ago, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is my very first high school game ever. It was a JV game. I started at shooting guard. I scored 21 points. If I would have made all my free throws, it would have been 30. And it's kind of cool that it worked out to me scoring 21, because I actually wore the number 21. So it's cool that it worked out that way. So let's take a look. Catch. Bang! It feels so good when that shot falls. So there's actually a reason behind my decision to wear 21. It stands for train like you're 2 but play like you're 1. And that means always training like there's something to prove, not getting complacent or feeling like there's no work to do. But once you're on that court, playing with utmost confidence and playing like no one can stop you. So that's why I wore number 21. Ooh. Steal. Dime. If you watch this tape, I run back like all the dimes in slow motion, just so you can get a good look at them. Okay, as you can see here, it wasn't just all shooting. Like, I could take it inside and finish strong. So let's stop right here. I was actually thinking about this, like, it's a lot of pressure being an athlete. So shout out to all the athletes out there. Cause like your family's watching, your friends are watching. Like, what if I just shot this and hit the side of the backboard or something? Like, it takes a lot of guts. So shout out to all the athletes out there. Dime. This was a good pass. I have to say my best pass I ever did was when I was in 8th grade. We were on a fast break, right? And I deceived the defenders to come into me, and then I went behind the back to my teammate and completed the pass. So I did behind the back in game. And I have to say that was my best pass I ever did. This is a really good pass. Let's run that back. Dime. So like I said, this tape actually got me some very light D1 recruiting attention, but D1 recruiting attention nonetheless. So like most kids my age, I wanted to go to the NBA. And realistically to do that, what do? You need to go D1, right? And just knowing how competitive it is and where I'm coming from, I thought that a way that I could sneak into D1 was getting in through the Ivy League. So I've always had good grades, and I carried that with me into high school. And then, like I said, right, I almost touched 30 my first game, right? Like I could shoot, I could finish, I had a work ethic. So I'm figuring with that combination, maybe the Ivy League could be a possibility, you know? And this is how I'm thinking. Once I get into that door, there's no stopping me. You know, I'm out there shooting in my backyard, the dirt backyard, right? I'm thinking once I get access to those facilities, plus those trainers that could remove any hitches from my game, then from that point, it's work your way into the starting lineup, you know, have a good season, win the Ivy League tournament, get that NCAA tourney bid, and then have a good game against a top team and get on the NBA radar. So that's like, I'm a strategist. So knowing how competitive this game is, that was my strategy. Like, you know, not everybody can make it to the Ivy League. So I was figuring that's a way I could stand out and have a shot at the NBA. So with all this in mind, I started sending out very early on to the Ivy League schools. So like after the sophomore season, you know, that spring and summer, I worked on getting myself out there, hoping to hear back from anyone. So I sent out the very same mixtape you're seeing today, plus my GPA and my PSAT score. Just saying, hey, I want to play for your program. This is what I got going on. You know, would love to hear back from you. You know, something to that effect, right? So that summer, someone from Brown personally responded to my email saying that they watched the tape and they went on to officially request my transcripts and my test scores. And then we would go on to go back and forth via email for a couple days. And it's really cool that this little tape that I edited myself, you know, that my mother and my younger brother filmed, got that type of attention from a D1 basketball staff member in the Ivy League nonetheless. And again, this happened my junior year too with Dartmouth. A member of Dartmouth's basketball staff personally responded saying they requested my AAU schedule, saying they want to come see me play. If they can't reach me in the spring, they told me to come to their elite camp in the summer. And then they said they would like to see me play AAU during the live recruiting period. You know, that's when all the offers are made, right? So that was a really big one too. So at that time I wasn't playing AAU, so I figured like maybe I could go to their elite camp. I played AAU when I was in 8th grade, played AAU in 9th grade. But I just found it hard to continue on in a program that would like truly treat me as like a priority. So I figured why, right? You know, I didn't really have any connections. So if I went out for an AAU team, if I made it, right, because it's a little political, you know, I might not even get major playing time, you know, depending on how the coach feels, right, how the coach perceives me. But even if I do, it might not even be on a team that Dartmouth's coming out to see, right? You know, because I know they prioritize certain circuits, right? And I know some AAU teams in CT play at the bigger circuits, but like, again, right, it's like who you know. Like I didn't know, I had no connection, so like that's why it was like, you know, maybe I could go to their elite camp. Yeah, Dartmouth invited me to their elite camp. Brown invited me to their elite camp. Yale invited me to their elite camp. And Princeton invited me to their elite camp. And I was just like a young kid saving up for these things on my own, and I knew I couldn't do all four. Like they're pretty expensive. So my thinking was, you know, it's political. I know it. Like I don't know how many true open recruiting spots they have at these places. You know, I know a lot of people are fighting for these things, and I know these are also outlets for people that are already recruiting, but they're just like deciding between a couple people, you know, to get a final look. You know, and you can win a spot, right? Like it's happened, I'm sure, but like I just wasn't sure just how open it really was. So my thinking was, why go to these other states just to experience this when I could just go to Yale down the street, give it my all, see what happens, and if nothing comes from it, then oh well, like I didn't waste all my money going to different states. Plus, out of the four, Yale was who I really wanted to play for anyways. So I went to the Yale elite camp, I did the drills, I played in a few games, and that's when I really realized, like, I'm undersized. Like, I was 5'6" in 8th grade, and at that time I'm doing the height calculators, like, oh, my dad's 6 feet plus, my mom's tall for a woman, like, I'm gonna reach NBA height. But unfortunately, from that point on, I didn't really grow that much. Like I grew but a couple inches in high school, you know, and if I played D1, I was point guard size, but at that, undersized for a point guard. But my play style was shooting guard or down, right? You know, so it was really at that Yale elite camp when I realized my time in basketball is coming to an end. Outside of height, I would say another thing that kind of held me back as I progressed to the different levels of basketball was kind of just like my general personality, demeanor, you know, my tendency to be a deep thinker. But I would say like the same things that might have held me back in basketball, you know, they're the very same reason why I excel in other areas. You know, so like with everything in life, it's kind of give and take. I realize, you know, it's more looking back, I realize my demeanor is not really one of like a professional athlete. You know, being the center of attention in that way, I realized that wasn't really like compatible with my demeanor. And that's why like I didn't really like being like a point guard. Like it was all like a center of attention type thing. Like I dominated, but anyone who's seen my games, you know, my play style is kind of like subtle. It's like a subtle domination type thing, you know? So, right, it was really like that experience the summer before my senior year at that Yale elite camp that made me realize like maybe it's just time to let this go. Throughout that senior year, I heard back, you know, just like I was sending to D1 schools, I was also being realistic and sending to D2 and D3. And I think it was the D3 schools who were like enthusiastic about me joining their roster, you know, saying come to this, you know. You know, but over the course of that senior year of high school, I got into Yale very early on, like the winter, and I thought it was just like time to let it go, like, you know, just move on with your life, find what's for you. So I just kind of, you know, I didn't grow, like, right, I knew like I'm not going to the NBA like 5'8" with this play style, so like that's why I just kind of let it go, you know. And going back to what I was saying about like my personality kind of clashed with being a basketball player, you might just hear a song about that on my upcoming album. You know, I've started working on it, and it will include songs that I've self-produced. You know, I'm working on the production, you know, I'm working on the writing, you know, and it's down the line, right? Because I'm planning on giving myself at least a year to write and record, and then allotting months each for finishing touches, mixing, and then getting the samples cleared. You know, so do that math of when you should expect it at the earliest. But I am currently working on it, and I can say these topics are amazing. These are some of my favorite songs I've ever made. It was really fun rewatching this tape today, and you know, just as I explained to you these stories of how I would send my tape out to this one and this one, you know, this basketball coach, that same tenacity translated to music, right? You know, sending myself out for radio opportunities, for blogs, you know, and you'd be surprised people respond. You know, I've been featured in many things just because of my confidence of putting myself out there. So, you know, everyone out there who's chasing anything in life, you know, send yourself out there, promote yourself. You never know what's gonna happen. All right, this has been a very fun reaction video. Thanks for watching.